Forget the Disney Vault. Disney's getting out of physical media completely. They're done. They're out. No more DVDs. No more Blu-rays. Throw away the VHS tapes. Well, not quite. But we'll explain, and it's a big deal right now. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. Happy to have everybody out there with us again for yet another unadulterated, pure piece of excellence when it comes to addressing entertainment and how the industry works. Jonas J. Campbell, investigative reporter for That Park Place, returns once more. Jonas, welcome back.
Oh, man, so glad to be here, especially this week. So glad to be here.
It's nice, isn't it? It's comfy and cozy, and well, we just like it.
I thought we were going to have to throw out this chair. Yes, let's talk about this.
Into this article from Bill Hunt, I believe. Yes, by Bill Hunt over on the Digital Bits. This is a huge story. It broke yesterday, Tuesday, the 20th of February, and here's what we have. This exclusive to the Digital Bits, so thank you to Bill Hunt for breaking it. Disney and Sony ink deal for Sony to take over Disney's physical media production. Disney Movie Club to shut down as a result. There are some significant developments happening within the home video industry of late, developments that I've been spending a lot of time investigating and really digging into these past few weeks here at the Digital Bits. Of course, this is in first person, folks. I am not Bill Hunt. And now Bill Hunt can confidently report that one of them is this. Disney and Sony have just inked a major deal for Sony Pictures Home Entertainment to take over all of Disney's physical media production going forward. This means that Sony will handle and oversee the actual authoring and compression of discs, that they'll work with the replicators and packaging vendors, and that they'll oversee the titles as they go out to the distributors and on to retailers. Now, it goes on to talk about this, and folks, we definitely recommend that you go read all of the article. It has fantastic information, and we are big fans of Bill Hunt. But
oh, absolutely. He does fantastic work, and he covers physical media in a way that no one else does.
Jonas, I want to tackle this in a way that I don't think is part and parcel of what the article is about necessarily, because there's another issue that is related to this that I think is going to really perk up the ears of those who are interested in Nelson Peltz and Try-In and Bob Iger and Elon Musk and the Disney stock. And so let's go ahead and elucidate that point well. Jonas, it seems to me that this is yet another example of Bob Iger vacating the various things that Disney was once defined by and attempting to move rapidly into a much smaller company in terms of what they do exactly, so that they can prove to investors over the next few quarters that they have removed the excess and that the profit margins are there. In other words, spending money on making Blu-rays was too hard, and they want to get into strictly streaming businesses, and they'll offload this to Sony. Where am I going wrong there, Jonas?
No, I think you're absolutely correct, and I'm seeing a lot of that in this phase, where they shut down LucasArts a few years ago and shut down Disney Interactive not years ago, but another example of Disney trimming the fat over the years. Now they are licensing anything that they can to other people in order to make video games. One, it seems to shift the risk onto those video game manufacturers. It puts the profit incentive on the manufacturer of the video game. And in this case, while we're talking about home media, a different disc-based art form, it sounds like instead of Disney taking on all the risk of making all of these things themselves, I'm sure there'll be mandatory minimums on all of their movies and things like that. It sounds like Sony will have all of the incentive to keep things lean. They do, I believe they do a lot more manufacturing themselves, so they will be able to work more efficiently. And it takes all of these decisions away from what I'm hearing is a very bloated internal process at the Walt Disney Company. So
it's hard to believe, Jonas, that those who make discs, those who their job is just to make the boxes and slap the discs inside, that even they have been completely befuddled with the new partisanship that has taken over the Disney company. But apparently, yes, it's bloated and bureaucratic and filled with vitriol, and so they can't even do that anymore. And I would just suggest to Sony, dear Sony, don't be Hasbro'd, all right? Don't be a Hasbro, Sony. Don't be a Hasbro. These licensing partners, they take the brunt while Bob Iger gets the yacht. And so the Disney stock may be somewhat impervious, but those partners, they tend not to be. Let's take a look now at what's going on as well. This is another part of that, and that is We'll read here, starting with the second paragraph that folks can see. Unfortunately, as part of the Disney and Sony arrangement, we've learned that Disney plans to shutter their Disney Movie Club, which for several years now has been doing exactly that. That is sadly also confirmed. We've now learned from Bits readers that DMC is beginning to inform their customers of this fact. Here's an example of the message DMC is currently sending out via email. It says, after 23 magical years, it's time to say goodbye. We have made the difficult decision. It's always a difficult decision, Jonas. Have you ever noticed that? It's never an easy one. To close the Disney Movie Club, we will miss the opportunity to serve cherished Disney fans like you. The last day to order from the Disney Movie Club is May 20th, 2024. So not very long at all. And then the assessment from Mr. Bill Hunt is that it is a terrible idea. It would be much better for Disney to let Sony take over DMC, that's the Disney Movie Club, and to ramp it up in order to more effectively communicate with the diehard cinephiles who are now the core of the physical media business. So not only is this being offloaded to Sony, but at the same time, they're cutting content. This is no shock to me. This is no shock to you, Jonas, because everything that we've been reporting for the last year has been that Disney is desperate to cut content, cut the cadence, cut everything they can, because despite what Wall Street thinks about the company, Main Street has rejected them.
Right.
And they can't grow. So what do you know? They're going to cut every part they can away to try to prove to investors about that profit margin.
Right. If you're hearing the headline that Disney Plus is about to be profitable, none of that is from subscriber growth. They lost 1.3 million subscribers. And if you hear about Moana 2 going from a Disney Plus TV series over to a movie in theaters in November, that means that they will be shifting those costs away from Disney Plus, removing them and shifting them to the other pocket, that being the movie pocket, that we never get to hear about the profitability of movies. We only hear about the revenue, not the profitability.
And the interesting thing is going to be, Jonas, this is clearly making investors happy for the moment. We're not here to give any kind of financial advice. Folks who've watched this channel know. We say it every video that we talk about anything to do, even tangentially with money. We're not here to give you any financial advice. Please don't take any. But it's going to be interesting to watch investors and see if investors agree that just cutting, while also perhaps reducing your economic and influential impact on society, if that's enough, or at some point does the company have to begin growing again? Because right now, it appears the company is willing to acquiesce. They're willing to step away and abdicate their role as the leading content creator on the planet. And so, for example, look at the amount of movies that we're getting this year, folks. Look at the amount of movies we're getting next year out of Disney. And what you see is that they're kind of retreating out of this space. That Park Place, the sister channel here, That Park Place has a story about The Mandalorian that you can't miss, which also goes to just how much is being cut out of the roster of stuff that Disney's interested in doing. Jonas, what do you think about this growth argument? Does Disney need to grow in order to have a long-term success strategy for investors, or can they just literally cut to win?
I think if they're not going to make good content, that they need to cut as much as they can. If they're going to have good content, growth is the strategy. If they're going to continue to have this problem where the main feeder of the flywheel is not being fed by things that people actually want to watch, then yes, by all means, cut until all you have is the people who are interested in Aristocats Loungefly bags.
Well, they've got to put disclaimers on those Aristocat fly bags because it's too offensive now. You can't have a darn Aristocat. I don't know what they did wrong. Who knows? If it's a legacy piece of content, if it has Walt's fingerprints on it, it's offensive now. That's the lesson that we've learned from this company. They hate their legacy. They hate their history. They hate their creator. That's our assessment, folks. Don't take it to the bank. Not a statement of fact. Just that's what we assess when we look at this. It's our estimation. Jonas, any final thoughts on the loss of physical media? Because I think that's where we're headed once more. This is yet another step towards the extinction of people actually being able to buy something and own it. Your thoughts on where we are landing in the industry with this?
I'm actually not on the same boat as you here. I think that Sony, who is very interested in the production of discs, because they also own the rights to the Blu-ray format, I think that Sony might be a good turn here. And while the Disney Movie Club has been from what I understand, an excellent source of some of the older content from Disney. I think that this is something that Sony might be able to advocate on behalf of the consumer because they have something that they want to sell, and it'll be out of the hands of some of the corporate bloat over there at the Disney company. I think that there might be some internal issues that are keeping Disney from making money, that if they farm it out, they might be able to do it. It's a shame that they aren't farming out their content production as well. So one thing I do want to say is I plan on covering this on That Park Place, and I'm planning on digging further. I'm going to see if I could get someone who can comment on this story more thoroughly. And I don't want to say who that is yet, but I have two people that I would like to bring on for a discussion of why this might actually be a positive thing. I'm hoping to have a positive video on That Park Place.
Wait a minute, Jonas, are you telling me that ultimately that you and I are concluding that this is a potentially positive thing for Disney?
Oh, yes. I definitely think that, especially in the short term, this might be a very good thing to take this out of the hands of marketers who have different motives than trying to sell things people want and putting them into the hands of someone who needs to make money in order to survive.
Now, wait a minute, Jonas. What this means is, you know, I did a video recently on X-Men 97 where it looks like, although not certain by any means, but it looks like that Disney is scrubbing out divisive content to try to save the thing. I did a video recently where we talked about how I think Disney getting involved in Fortnite is a wonderful thing for the company. This feels like, Jonas, we're actually calling balls and strikes on this channel, and we're not just negative at Disney for the sake of being negative, but rather Disney had a pretty stinky year in 2023, and there are some signs that they're turning some things around. It's just they probably hate doing so. So,
right.
It's fun.
And I will add that a lot of that comes from getting all of those creative decisions out of the hands of the Disney company.
Oh, what a great point. That is a great point indeed. Jonas, one more. I want to throw a curveball at you before we wrap up. I'm noticing Disney is partnering with Sony here. I'm noticing that Sony owns a large chunk of Fortnite, and that now Disney owns a large chunk of Fortnite, exactly, through Epic. Any chance you think that there might be an additional deal behind the scenes where Sony gets some exclusive Disney Fortnite swag in their game so folks will want to buy up those PlayStations? You think there's anything going on there?
Now, that would be an excellent thing to happen. Now I will say that what I would, my guess and my interesting thing that I want to investigate here is Sony does have a virtual reality headset in the form of the PSVR 2. And Disney does have a relationship with Apple in the the Apple Vision Pro. That leaves out Microsoft, although they now have some board members in common with Microsoft. So I think that I think all of these people working together in this light way, where they're still incentivized by profit, I think there might be some good bridges to be built there. Yes. So, hey, there's another positive thing we're throwing at Disney.
Chum chumany, chum chumany, chum chum charoo. All right, well, we'll find out what happens with all of this. It's very fascinating. And, folks, I want to remind you that here on the Pro Channel, in the next couple of days, we're going to have some of the spiciest stories we've ever had, and it might give you some indication of why things went down the way they did over the last, I don't know, week or so. Get ready for those exposés. They may just shock you. We're not speaking hyperbolically. It's true. Also, folks, drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Like, share, subscribe. Click it. Stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. And if you are not yet a member of the Patreon, we are putting the stuff we can't put anywhere else over there. www.patreon.com/WDWPro. Find Jonas over on That Park Place, the YouTube channel, where I also appear quite often, including today. Jonas, what else is coming out on That Park Place soon?
Well, we will be talking about what sounds like a confirmation of something that we first reported on thatparkplace.com. That would be the cancellation of The Mandalorian Season 4. Now, of course, take that with a grain of salt, but you can get more information in a video that should be over there on That Park Place very soon. If not already, it could be as we speak. It could be right behind you.
Another cost-cutting measure? What? All right, folks, check out all that great stuff. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.